How long should a strength training program last? Today we talk about how long should a strength training program last, what are the challenges when designing a strength training program, and how we fit it into the competitive calendar of athletes. How long should a strength training program last? In my opinion, strength training is an ongoing thing. It's not that you do your strength training, you stop and you take it up again. The challenge is more manipulating and modulating volume, intensities and frequency. And that's based on the competitive calendar. So first challenge is identify where competition, important competition is, and then you plan your strength training around it. At the moment, I'm working with a tennis player who I used to work before earlier and who has approached me to get some support. And the main challenge we had in the beginning, now it's fine, is that we needed to escape this vicious circle of doing strength training, then once the competitive season starts, no training, and then once the season is over, in tennis a season can be 3 weeks and then 2 weeks off and 3 weeks. So anyway, during the competitive season or during the tournaments, no training was done, and then you take up training. So what happens is you train for 2 weeks, you stop training for 3 weeks, you take up training again. After 3 weeks of no training, you get sore and have to deal with all the negative consequences that a strength training has if you don't do it consistently. And then in that period, the tennis training suffers, you're not getting ready for the next matches and all these kind of things. So that was basically the vicious circle. What we did, we looked at the competition. Okay, here we have 3 weeks of tournaments, here we have 2 weeks of no tournaments, another 2 weeks. So that we say, okay, in these weeks where there are no tournaments, you can train a bit harder. When you have tournaments, you need to do the bare minimum to maintain what you've built up in that 3 weeks or in that period leading up to the tournaments. And once the competitive tournaments are over, you can take up your training again. And this way we ensured that there's continuous training with emphasis changes of developing physical qualities, maintaining physical qualities, developing physical qualities, maintaining physical qualities. An advanced plan could be that you look at your competitive calendar, and that's what we're doing with our Olympic programs here, and we prioritize competitions. So not every competition has the same level of importance. And what that basically means, if we have the highest level of importance, the physical training, the strength training will be the bare minimum, just maintaining of what we build up. If there are tournaments that are not that high in priority, then we train a little bit harder, or we even train through these tournaments. So just changing the priority of competition can make a big difference in your progress in strength training. So as a recap, strength training should be an ongoing thing. Main challenge, identify the competitions in your calendar, mark these, and then work with the strength training around it so that you can train a bit harder and heavier outside the competitive season, and you maintain what you have inside the competitive season.